From bloody specters to dead soldiers who just won't stay buried, here are the top 6 ghost stories that soldiers swear are true. Story number 1, the Ghost Army. During World War II, there was a mysterious unit of ghostly soldiers who appeared and disappeared at will, and whose presence was said to turn the tide of battle in the Allies' favor. Their ranks were said to be filled with apparitions who bore an uncanny resemblance to real American soldiers who had died in the war. In fact, it would appear that their leader was also a dead soldier, General George Washington. One minute he was gone, the next he appeared as a translucent figure riding a white horse, holding aloft a sword that blazed with an otherworldly fire. According to legends, Washington led his spectral soldiers into battle against the Axis powers, boosting the morale of U.S. troops while demoralizing and terrifying the enemy. Though they were never seen for more than a few moments at a time, sightings of the Ghost Army were frequent throughout the war, often occurring just before major victories. There were dozens of reports of seeing Washington and his Ghost Army throughout the war, but the sightings didn't stop there. Even after the war was over, people continued to report seeing Washington and his ghost soldiers. They were spotted at Valley Forge, at Monmouth Courthouse, and even at Yorktown, the site of the decisive battle that ended the war. Story number 2, Haunted Headstone. A haunting headless specter is said to roam the hallowed grounds of Arlington National Cemetery at night. No one knows who he is or why he's without a head. Legend has it that he was a soldier who was executed for desertion during the Civil War, but that's just a story. Nobody actually knows why he's been cursed to wander the earth without a head. Some say he was a victim of enemy fire, while others claim he was the victim of friendly fire. No one knows for sure, but that hasn't stopped people from trying to help him rest in peace. Many visitors to the cemetery have reported seeing the headless ghost, and some have even tried to communicate with him. Story number 3, Ghostly Apparition. There are some places where the veil between the living and the dead is so thin that ghosts are able to walk among us. One such place is Gettysburg National Military Park, the site of one of the most brutal battles of the Civil War. It was here that more than 50,000 soldiers lost their lives, and their spirits are said to linger still. At night, visitors to the park have reported seeing all manner of ghostly apparitions, from shadowy figures to full-bodied specters. Some say they've even heard the sounds of battle, the roar of cannons, and the screams of the dying. The most famous ghost of Gettysburg is that of a little girl in a blue dress. She's said to appear at the corner of the Devil's Den and then vanish into thin air. Others say they've seen the ghost of a Union soldier who died in the battle, his body riddled with bullets. Some have even reported seeing the ghost of Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who supposedly haunts the battlefield in search of his lost cause. If you visit Gettysburg on a clear night, you might just see one of these ghosts for yourself. Story number 4, Phantom Footsteps. During the Vietnam War, there was a medic named Harry. Harry served in the military for over 20 years and saw his fair share of combat. But it was during his time in Vietnam that he witnessed something truly terrifying. One night he was awakened in his tent to the sound of footsteps. Footsteps that weren't human. Harry described them as heavy and mechanical, like the sound of tanks rolling over metal plates. At first he thought it was just another attack, but then he realized that the footsteps were coming from inside the tent. As he lay there listening, he heard the footsteps approach his cot and then stop. Then he felt something cold and clammy crawl over him, like a corpse laid on top of him to steal his body heat. And finally, he felt a presence in the tent with him, something dark and evil that seemed to stare at him in the darkness. Then just as suddenly as it had begun, the experience was over, and Harry was left sitting in his tent in the middle of the jungle, wondering if he had just experienced a genuine ghostly encounter, or perhaps something more sinister. Could it be possible that the jungle was hiding something otherworldly? And if so, what was it, and why did it choose to visit Harry? Was it a warning, a message from beyond the grave, or simply a manifestation of the fear and uncertainty that permeated the jungle? Harry and the others could only speculate. Story number 5, Bloody Spectre. Bloody specters are said to haunt the halls of Fort Mifflin, a historic fort in Philadelphia that played a pivotal role in the American Revolutionary War. On October 13, 1777, British forces attacked the fort, which was defended by just 250 American troops. Despite being outnumbered, the Americans held off the British for several hours, but eventually they were forced to surrender. The British entered the fort and killed or wounded many of the remaining defenders. It is said that the ghosts of these soldiers still haunt the fort, appearing as bloody specters to those who enter. Visitors have reported seeing all manner of ghastly sights, from shadowy figures to full-bodied specters covered in blood. Some have even heard the sound of gunfire and screams of the dying. One of the most famous ghosts of Fort Mifflin is that of Lieutenant John Armstrong. He was killed during the battle and his body was never recovered. Some say his ghost can be seen walking the ramparts of the fort, his clothes torn and bloody. Others say they've heard his voice calling out orders to his men, even though he's been dead for centuries. If you visit the fort on a clear night, you might just see one of these ghosts for yourself. Story number 6. The Ghost Ship. The legend of the ghost ship dates back to the War of 1812 when the USS Scorpion was sailing off the coast of North Carolina. The ship was carrying a cargo of valuable goods when it was attacked by pirates. The crew fought back, but they were outnumbered and eventually they were forced to surrender. The pirates looted the ship and then set it on fire. The crew barely managed to escape with their lives. But now the ghost of the ship and its crew is said to haunt the waters off the coast. Some say they've seen the ghostly apparition of the ship sailing through the fog, its sails tattered and torn. Others say they've heard the moans of the dying crew members as they perished in the flames. And still, others say they've seen the ghosts of the crew themselves, wandering the beach at night, searching for a way to escape the flames that consumed them so many years ago. If you sail the coastal waters on a dark night, you might just see the ghost ship for yourself. Thanks for watching. What's the scariest ghost story you've ever heard? Let us know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another awesome video. See you next time. Thank you.